And I'd like to welcome in now Shakur Stevenson to the show. And for people who don't know, I'm involved in boxing now for I don't know how many years. And if someone asked me who's the best bet to be the next pound for pound #1 guy when given the chance, I'd put my money on Shakur. Shakur has more to lose. Yeah. He's the undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound for pound champ potentially. Yes. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Kambosos, and he came back from that.
The opposite of what they expect you to do. So for me, I try to do the unexpected. I try to make sure if you go out there expecting me to move and run around the ring, I want to give you the opposite. So it was a strategic game plan.
Shakur Stevenson made one thing crystal clear to Max Kellerman: once that bell rings, friendship dies. Respect can live outside the ropes, but inside the ring, it's pure domination. Shakur knows Teófimo Lopez is dangerous, confident, and explosive, and treating him casually would be a fatal mistake. To win, Shakur isn't just planning to outbox him, he's aiming to impose his will, control every second of the pace, and mentally break Lopez while staying razor-sharp, disciplined, and locked in until the final bell. This isn't personal. It's war.
Fighters.
I see. You're not saying you don't respect your opponent's fight game. You're saying you're not there to make friends. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not here to make friends. At the end of the day, my life's on the line, his life on the line. We got families to feed, and I take this very serious. So at the end of the day, I can't go in there, touch gloves, and be happy and be friendly.
Max Kellerman says real super fights can't be manufactured, they're earned. They happen when an era finally settles and only two elite fighters are left standing. That's how legends like Crawford and Canelo defined their generation. And according to Kellerman, this fight carries that same historic weight. It's not just about winning a belt, it's about closing a chapter in boxing history. Either Teófimo Lopez becomes the last man standing, or Shakur Stevenson rises as the defining fighter of this era. One fight. One legacy. One moment that decides everything.
For Crawford and Canelo, can't be promoted into existence.
Right.
What a real super fight is, the dust settles in an era, and there are two dudes left standing. There's Ali, there's Frazier, there's Leonard, there's Hagler, there's Mayweather, there's Pacquiao. That's a super fight, right? There's Crawford, there's Canelo. Those are two big fighters of the era. This type of fight, this could easily be at the end of an era, because Teo might be a dude left standing, and Shakur could be the dude left standing, right?
Shakur Stevenson doesn't fight the way anyone expects. The moment opponents think they've figured him out, he flips the script. If they brace for a careful, tactical boxer, he turns up the aggression. If they prepare for pressure, he slows the pace and dominates the distance. Unpredictability is Shakur's secret weapon. By doing the opposite of what's anticipated, he forces hesitation, mistakes, and doubt. Every adjustment keeps him one step ahead, and it's what truly separates him from the rest of the pack.
One thing, and sometimes you want to give a fighter the opposite of what they expect you to do. So for me, I try to do the unexpected. I try to make sure if you go out there expecting me to move and run around the ring, I want to give you the opposite. So it was a strategic game plan too.
Did he have any pop at all?
You know, it's crazy. A lot of people say that he don't. But like, if somebody hit you in the same spot 500,000 times over and over, I don't give a fuck who it is. It's like boom, 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 over and over. You're gonna feel that spot. So he's one of them guys. Like, he's gonna constantly hit you over, and that's why his knockout percentage is a good knockout percentage.
Would you say you were? Look, you obviously barely ever get hit in a fight, but because you were in a pocket, you got hit more than you normally get hit, right? In that fight. Did your body feel different after the fight?
Hell yeah, like I never left the ring feeling like.
Max Kellerman reminds the world not to underestimate Teófimo Lopez. Time and again, he's been doubted, from the majority favoring Josh Taylor, only for Teofimo to dominate, to his unforgettable win over Lomachenko, where he turned up the urgency and output in the final round to snatch victory. Even in defeat to George Kambosos, Kellerman notes, Lopez was battling serious medical issues, a one-off night that doesn't erase his proven ability to thrive under pressure. For Kellerman, Teofimo isn't just a fighter, he's a fighter who rises when it matters most.
Josh Taylor fight, but everyone was picking Josh Taylor that you spoke to in boxing.
Yeah.
And we saw what Teo did to Josh Taylor. We saw what Teo did to Lomachenko. And one of the things that I think that gets lost in that fight against Lomachenko is Teo threw more than 100 punches in the final round to make sure he won that fight.
Yeah, no question. Even in the loss that he had against Kambosos, where he had a puncture, like he had some medical condition in his esophagus that like was dangerous actually, and it looked like an off night. By the way, George Kambosos doesn't like when I say this, and I apologize. I understand it feels unfair to you, and maybe it is unfair, but this is my honest opinion. It may be, but it is still my honest opinion, Malik. I just have to be honest with the way I see it. I don't think that was the best version of Teo by a long shot. But even then, he was rallying in that fight late. He has championship heart. And the thing I like about Teo's style, I mean, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just the guy who's going to hug.
Shakur Stevenson credits sparring with Terence Crawford for taking his boxing to the next level. Facing Crawford's intelligence, versatility, and ability to switch styles forced Shakur to sharpen every detail. Speed, timing, and constant adjustments pushed him beyond his comfort zone. Those sessions didn't just improve his skills, they changed how he thinks in the ring, making him calmer, smarter, and a more complete fighter. Boxing analyst Bernie Thaw adds perspective on why Shakur stands out against Teófimo Lopez. Unlike others, Shakur cannot be underestimated or contained. While fighters like Jermaine Ortiz moved a lot against Lopez, Shakur never allowed that to happen. De Los Santos, despite his reputation, posed no real threat. He never hurt or wobbled Shakur, showing the limits of his ability. Bernie emphasizes that Shakur's composure, intelligence, and adaptability make him extremely difficult to challenge. He neutralizes opponents, avoids danger, and maintains control throughout fights. Against Lopez, Bernie believes these traits, tactical brilliance and ring IQ, will be decisive, solidifying Shakur as one of boxing's most formidable young champions.
He couldn't beat a one-handed guy. And if you go back and watch that fight, like I'm saying, Shakur wasn't just running. Jermaine Ortiz really moved a lot on Teo. That never happened with Shakur Stevenson and fighting this guy. That never happened. So De Los Santos is De Los Santos. He got a reputation off of that. That boosted his reputation. I don't know why. He didn't do nothing to Shakur. He didn't wobble him, didn't hurt him, didn't do nothing. You know what I mean? And the man was one-handed. So, but shout out to De Los Santos. Like I say, I think he's more risk than reward. Actually, that'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason in his first title defense. That'll be a great fight for him in his title defense. That'll be a good. They should use him for that
instead of Joe Cordina.
Yeah, Joe Cordina was rough too, though. I watched him against the kid from Fresno. What's the kid's name? I forget his name. They was pushing him, but he just ain't there. He took a lot of punishment. He probably need to go get a job. Gabriel Flores. Gabe Flores. Yeah, Gabe Flores.
From Vegas,
yeah. He from Fresno, or he from Sacramento. He from the Bay Area.
Yeah, he just be training. Yeah, he be training.
Yeah. So I would say I would say that, you know what I mean? Because Abdullah Mason is the guy. I think he got a lot of potential. And like I said, him fighting a guy like De Los Santos is almost like a Bud fighting Gamboa in his first title defense. You know what I mean? So that would be a great fight for Abdullah Mason. You know what I mean? And he's more known than Joe Cordina. You know what I mean? And given the controversy that he's been in, you know what I'm saying? The way he's perceived as kind of feared, that'll be a great fight for Abdullah Mason.
Damn, my boy Bernie said that's like Gamboa versus Crawford for his first title defense. That shit is fire.
Yeah.
I like it. Carlos Vargas, thank you for the donation. Shout out from the Bay. Who you guys got, Shakur or Shakur Stevenson? How does this play out?
I don't know, man. Like I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know how it play out. I'm just want to see the fight.
You think it's a 50-50? Shakur and Teo?
everything is a 50-50. Well, I would say 60, but I'm leaning towards Shakur for sure. I'm leaning for Shakur. I'm rooting for Shakur.
So you think it's going to be a close fight?
Well, I don't know about how close. I don't know. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. Let me say that.
Shakur Stevenson knows that greatness doesn't wait, you have to chase it. For him, Teófimo Lopez isn't personal, he's necessary. Legacy is built by defeating the best available opponents, and if Lopez stands in the way, the fight has to happen. In Shakur's mind, avoiding the challenge would only slow his climb to boxing greatness.
That's how I look at it. Like, same way he probably feel about me, I feel the same way about him. He's in my way. I'm chasing greatness.
But I wasn't in your way. You came up to my weight.
Yeah.
You didn't have nobody at 35.
That's true, but you the guy, bro. You the guy. You 4 kings. You been the guy for years.
But you the guy on the pound for pound.
I agree. I agree. I understand.
So how am I the guy if you on the pound for pound?
But you're the guy, bro. You know you the guy, bro.
I'm Theo. Yes.
Yeah. You been the guy since, bro. You the guy. But I'm just telling you.
But I don't.
You're in my way, bro.
I don't carry it that way.
But you're in my way.
The mentality is never going to be that way.
But you're in my way. But you're in my way. So I gotta move you out my way. That's how I look at this.
Nope.
Ain't nobody taking food off my table. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I'll tell you this though, you bit more than you could chew.
It's cool. You can feel that way.
For sure.
But come fight night, you gonna realize this is a lot different than being on the outside than being inside of there.
As they all say.
Roy Jones Jr. says Shakur Stevenson is on the brink of greatness. He praises Shakur's intelligence, control, and ring awareness, but sees one final step: footwork. Sharper movement and positioning, Roy explains, could unlock a new level, letting Shakur dominate exchanges, create angles faster, and become almost untouchable. Great fighters win in the details, and Roy believes Shakur already has the mindset and skill. Polishing his footwork could turn close moments into dominance, transforming him from elite to truly special. Even against fighters like Zada, Shakur's skill shines through, no one can take that away. That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more breakdowns and updates on boxing's rising stars.